One of the great things about being with Al, I just want to tell you a little bit about my journey with Al. One of the great things about being with Al is that he's so present. He's always so there, just like you just saw. And he always helps me be prepared for whatever it is. So I have all of this to prepare for this interview this morning. Plus, we had lunch together twice. And I'm kind of curious about when we get to this last part of this interview, how that's going to go, because I find it really exciting to find out things about you that nobody else knew about. So anyhow, let's get started with the standard questions, and then we'll move to the more interesting questions a little bit later. So the standard question that I always ask is, what was your family of origin spiritual life like? What got you started on your spiritual journey?
Well, my mother was the driving force in our family. I was the youngest of 8 children, 7 boys and a girl. I went along with whatever my mother dictated. My memory is of being raised in a Methodist Episcopal church, which I attended Sunday school, then regular church services after my father died. I was 12. My father was not a church. He didn't go to church, except for weddings and his own funeral. When I went to Olivet College, which was founded in 1844 by Congregational ministers who also founded Oberlin College, I more or less attended Sunday services during the school year, but did not attend church services during the summer. I was at Olivet from January of 1955 and graduated in June of 58. And then again, I returned in June of 1960 and left 1964. I was on the staff.
So what about the changes or additions to your spiritual life that came to you compared to your time with your family?
Well, I took a Bible class from a Dr. Roderick Scott, who was a congregational missionary in China during World War II. And he's my mentor. Mm-hmm. So what? You have to repeat your question.
We're at number 2 there, the changes or additions to your life, which I assume one of those was coming here to Ladera Community Church.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Okay, good.
Well, after joining LCC after 2 failed marriages, so in 1969, I was a member of the community, which some of you know locally, for 3 years, but founded on filling. 4 of my brothers and my lone sister were very active in their churches. I became active by serving on many different boards, thus more involvement. And of course, what was my first board? Stewardship. I didn't know a person here at all, you know. Pardon?
You don't know anybody and then put you in charge of asking for money.
Right. Well, it wasn't only that, but who am I going to get to assign, ask
Get help.
to fill jobs?
Yeah. So what would you say are the highlights for you of being a member of Ladera Community Church? That's on the next page.
You're taking that out of sequence.
I know, I'm trying to keep you on your toes.
Well, I married Deanna on June 18th, 1983. And I met and worked with many fabulous people, really outstanding people. I was a moderator in way back 2004 when we did the 50th anniversary. And it was great to have the help of Nancy Segbarth, who was the moderator for the 25th anniversary. And the return of many former members was quite an experience. Planning the Asilomar retreat was another highlight. And Deanna and I videotaped a number of weddings here at LCC.
And what about the most significant changes you've seen here over the past 20 years?
Well, the aging process. Loss of the Board of Deacons. Lorraine Hancock turned over to me the responsibility for preparing for what are we going to do this morning?
Communion.
We're going to do communion. And Martha joined in after COVID in assisting with the loss of Farmer Bob's garden and his eggs, and especially the colored eggs. Closure of the preschool, which has been replaced by the Montessori school. No Sunday school for lack of young people. Zooming Sunday services to the outside world. Stelly's Sunday morning classes for children. Declining choir members.
So, what kind of advice do you have for Reverend Dr. Evelyn?
Well,
how to navigate going ahead?
First, I'll say you got to leave it to the people. You got to go to the moderators. I say leave it to the younger people.
So I know we skipped the one part about how you met Deanna and things like that, but we heard that story once before. What I wanted to go to was that question about sharing things about you that are unknown to others. And I'd like to talk about Ira Murchison last. Okay? Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay. What are the things that we should know about you or that are unknown about you to others that you'd like us to know about?
Well, Ira Murchison, for those who don't know.
No, I wanted to do that last.
Oh, you want?
I wanted you to start with Sugar Child Frankie Robinson and Louis Armstrong and Orlando Columbus.
Oh, okay. I know there are some of you who are familiar with Sugar Child Frankie Robinson, Louis Armstrong. So Sugar Child Robinson went to Olivet, and we became friends. Louis Armstrong I met and had conversations with while I was on the staff at the college. There's a third one there called Orlando Columbus, O.C. Burton. He was a student at Olivet while I was there. He was one-eyed. He lost his eye from some kind of an accident I never found out in high school. But I considered him to be the most outstanding Black athlete at the time. He was a golfer. He never lost a golf match during his 4 years at Olivet. He was medalist all 4 years for the league meet. He used to hitchhike from Detroit to Chicago so he could play on public links. O.C. went into the Athletic Hall of Fame at the same time I did, because I insisted that he be inducted. I had principles. If they weren't going to induct him, I wouldn't go in.
So can I read something for a minute?
Pardon?
I'd like to read something to
Okay.
everybody. So it is true that we'll say Orlando Columbus or O.C. Burton was inducted into the Olivet University Sports Hall of Fame at the same time as Al, but I wanted to read to you Al's induction, the notes about Al that were included in his introduction into the Olivet University Sports Hall of Fame, because it's just kind of amazing. And then I want you to tell the story about our emergency, okay? Al was a member of the cross country, track, baseball, and football teams at Olivet. He earned 3 letters in both baseball and track, 2 in cross country and 1 in football. He was the cross country team captain and most valuable runner in 55 and 56. In track, he was the captain in 57 and 58. In 56, he was the team's most valuable runner after finishing second in the 220-yard dash and third in the 100-yard dash at the MIAA Field Day, which I believe that's the conference that Olivet was in. He helped reestablish Kappa Sigma Alpha fraternity and served as president in 57, and he was the director of sports publicity and the radio station sports program at Olivet. Then after graduating, he served in the U.S. Army, and then in June 1960, he returned to Olivet, where he worked in the athletic department for 4 years, where he coached cross country for 4 years, and golf for 1 year, and assisted baseball for 3 years. And then he was also the director of the Collegiate Center for the last year. In addition to that, he held several positions in electronics industry, including planning manager, consultant, and purchasing manager. And he coached and set up youth soccer programs for 5 and 6-year-olds, and he coached his son John and Blair in youth soccer, taking teams to year-end tournaments. And so Olivet was honored and proud to induct you into their College Sports Hall of Fame in September 2009. Now I want you to talk about Ira Murchison.
I never heard of Ira Murchison. Following my MIAA sec, excuse me, second in the 100 and third in the 220. I was invited to participate in the John Boz relays in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is 1956, May. So I have no clue how I got that invitation, but I suspect that it was my athletic director. Anyway, so I go up to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I go through the qualifying for the 100 and the 220. So we're doing the 100, and the gun goes off, and I'm still on the blocks. Wow. And there's this guy way out front. Well, I tried to pick up speed. I finished 6th. You have to know that in Michigan, you can only play one sport. And my sport was baseball. I loved baseball. I never had any track training. Never knew how to come out of the blocks. Here I am in this meet. Well, so we come to the 220, and I qualified first, so I get the inside lane. Now we're on a curved track, so you're out there, you don't really know where you are until you come around the curve. And I just said to myself, I'm going to beat this guy. And Ira Murchison was in the next lane. Again, I didn't know who he was. We take off, and we're getting down around the corner, and as I told Jeff, I said, it's the only time I ever prayed to God to let me have the strength to finish and to win. Well, I beat Ira Murchison, and I still didn't know who he was until 1956 Olympics, and he won a gold medal. He set the world record in 1955 for the 100 meters.
Do you remember what you told me that you told him while you were lining up to go in the 220?
No.
When Al told me the story, the first time he was talking, because Ira, I guess, won the 100 earlier, and Al said to Ira Murchison, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to make you run, or something to that effect. So Ira Murchison won the gold medal in the 4x100 relay with the United States, and the gold medal, like Al said. And I asked him, I said, well, what'd you get for coming in second? In the 220, I guess you came in second, Ira came in third, so there was somebody that won. But even though that's true, I kind of felt like, it's pretty amazing to know that you run on the track with a gold medalist and to win, and this tiny, probably wasn't a small athletic event, at the track meet and everything, but it's still not that well known. So I thought that deserved a medal.
Well, Ira was about my size, and he was black, but I think that was the last time that anybody our size, 5'6", whatever, could dominate in the sprints, because as time went on, all those sprinters were taller.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I got something for you here.
well, I got one more.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Kind of hate to admit it, but I spent some time in Southern Michigan State Prison in my early 20s.
Go ahead.
Why was I there? Baseball. My college team went in there. My city team during the summer went in there. And so I got to play against and with some of the finest athletes there were, and they were in prison. They kept a dossier on people. They had a dossier on me. And I'm up to bat one time, and I hear this guy out there saying, "Hey, Knickerbocker, you better get on base because I got a carton of cigarettes bet on you." I got on base. How's that?
That's great. That's great. So, like I said, it seemed like you should have got a medal from your running. So we got a medal for Al. It's as close as we could find to an Olympic medal since he beat an Olympic champion.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I could make it through this without too much emotion. There's still a lot you don't know. Anyway, thank you.
All right.
And I'm going to miss Brady. I'm going to miss you, and I'm going to miss Deli. We all are.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, let me see that.